A lost footage tape for Indigo Park was just revealed, and not only does it tease new characters, but it also might be hinting at Molly's return for Chapter 2. So let's jump into this footage and see if we can't uncover its secrets. Now, this footage was released on Mason's YouTube channel with the title of a date. In the description, we get a little bit more context about it. It reads, "Hey there, I saw you were looking into Indigo Park and I thought I would share this since I haven't seen it uploaded anywhere online. When I was little, I was super excited for the premiere of the new show blank blank, which is probably Molly Ahoy, on the Indigo channel. I was a massive fan of the Indigo cartoons and we were getting ready to go on a trip to the park. Anyway, my dad was always the finish what you started kind of guy, and even though I wanted to quit soccer so bad, he always ensured I made it to every practice and game. On the evening of the show's world premiere, I threw a fit and begged him to let me stay home. He yelled at me and I went to practice crying. I think he felt bad about that, because once I got home, he sat me down and showed me the episode through a crappy recording he took on our old camcorder. On this flash drive is what I have left of that recording. I had a hard time ripping it off the disc that it was recorded to, so sorry if there's anything extra on there. I just haven't seen anyone post online about the premiere of this show and thought you might be interested. Thanks, Sophie." Now, this description tells us a lot. First, Indigo Park had its own TV channel just like Disney does now, and they had a ton of cartoons. But more importantly, this introduces us to Sophie, a human character that I think is going to be important in some way. After all, why introduce her by name if she's not important? Now, keep in mind, Sophie is still alive, as she says this tape was from when she was little, which means now she is likely in her late teens or an adult. Furthermore, we are meant to see this as Sophie sharing this video. So what I'm getting at is she is still alive and not a kid. Now, we learn that Sophie wanted to quit soccer so badly. However, her father made sure she continued to play as he was a finish what you started kind of guy. Unfortunately for Sophie, Indigo's world premiere of their new show Molly Ahoy was premiering on the same day and time of her soccer practice. And since this tape takes place in 2013, if you didn't see it live on TV, you missed it. Back then, it wasn't as easy as rewatching the episode online like it is now. However, her father decided to record the show's premiere on a camera to make it up to her. This video is that tape. The tape opens with her father explaining what he's doing, recording the episode. The first thing I want to point out is what looks to be an Indigo Park invitation or trip memo. As it says, your jolliest vacation is almost here. It mentions the importance of wearing your critter cuff while at the park to help identify you, and it includes a park introduction DVD, something we might see later on. As we know from the description, the family had a trip to Indigo Park planned, so that's what this is referring to. We can also see the critter cuffs that were mentioned. I think it's important to bring up that these critter cuffs are going to play a much bigger role in this next chapter. If you remember, it was hinted that they can do a lot more than just letting you around the park. So I'm excited to see what these are fully capable of doing. Sophie's room is covered with Indigo Park toys, so like she said herself, she was a huge fan. There are stickers, figures, plushies, and even cans of soda from the game. Now, the show begins with its intro before every episode. The song explains how Molly was tired of crashing planes, so she built a better one that would last. However, of course, it crashed and landed on a pirate island. While on this island, she was greeted with a new crew that attempted to fix her plane, but they ended up giving up and decided to make her captain of their pirate ship. At the end of the song, we can see the villain of the show, Scurv the Coyote. The end of the clip tells us the name of this episode, Crash to Crew. Considering the name, and since it's the first episode, it's about Molly joining the pirate crew. That's very obvious, but I had to point it out. Speaking of the crew, meet Chip, Pip, and Tiki. Every day with them becomes a joy. These new characters look so cool. All three are birds or parrots, so it makes perfect sense why they would decide to make Molly the captain of their crew. She too is a bird. To stay on the topic of new characters, Scurv the Coyote looks incredible as well. On the board the birds are shooting at, the drawing of him has weirdo and ugly but kinda cool. So obviously, like I said before, he is the villain of the show. The crew hates him, but he's kinda cool. This is all we get of the show so far, just the intro. Now, the question I keep asking myself is, why was introducing this show important? What about it is significant to the game itself? Well, let's think about what it's given us. First, we have a new human character, Sophie. She is likely an adult and she's still alive. She teased that this flash drive has clips of the show and potentially other stuff. So like I said earlier, I think Sophie is significant, and there are a few reasons why. Obviously, she is expanding the world of the game, but her herself and her family could be important for Chapter 2. She could tell us why the park closed, or she might even have footage of it. But more likely, Sophie is significant because she is releasing these clips of the show. She is showing us the lost media of Indigo Park. Media that could hint at upcoming plot points of the game's story, or something like that. Either way, I really think Sophie is significant. For the second reason as to why the show is important is because it's expanding the lore of the characters and introducing new ones. This show gives us more of Molly's backstory. Not only was she captain of the skies, but she was once captain of the seas. Along the way, she met new friends and enemies, which leads to the question of, will these new characters be in Chapter 2? Honestly, I'm not sure. I didn't get that feeling from the teaser trailer, but then again, it was just a teaser. Since they are leaning heavily into the show, there is a good chance they might be. Which brings us back to my other point. This show could be hinting at plot points for the actual game. Or I could be way overthinking it. Maybe the show is just a fun cartoon to expand the world of Indigo Park, to show the player that Indigo was more than just a few fun rides. It was a brand with many different ventures that scales from media to amusement parks, just like the real Disney. The last thing I want to talk about is what happens next. I think we can obviously expect to see more of what's on this flash drive. To be more specific, at least the rest of episode 1, Crash to Crew. It will likely be about Molly crashing onto the island and becoming the captain. It will also give us a better look at Scurv and what his plan is. But besides the show, maybe Sophie will give us more hints about this ARG for Indigo Park. If you remember, it teased the creation of Molly and the other characters. We even saw an egg. That being said, this show is centered around Molly. Therefore, I think it's safe to assume that a new version of Molly McCaw will return for Chapter 2. This found footage hints at that. That's why it's important. At the end of the show, Molly will return to her friends at the park and she will return for Chapter 2. Or I'm way overthinking everything. Honestly, this tape caught me off guard, so it was kinda cool. What do you think the significance of it is? Will it tease things about the chapter, or is it just a fun little cartoon for the game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like horror game content like this, please consider subscribing. Also, I have a Discord server, so if you want to chat with me, I recommend joining. And if you want to support the channel more, you can become a member. Don't forget to follow my Twitter at TerrifyT. Thanks for watching.